On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family went to bed, thinking nothing big was going to happen overnight. The kids stayed up later with their new toys, and the parents went to sleep. However, in the night, something woke them up. Smoke. A fire. The house was burning. The parents and some of the children got out, but not everyone did. Afterwards, in the rubble, no remains were left of any of the children who didn't escape. What happened to them? Did they perish in the fire? Or were they kidnapped and taken somewhere else? Join us today as we discuss the Sodder Children.
Welcome back to
Unknown,
Unsolved,
Unseen.
Woohoo!
I'm your slightly hungover host, Frank, who is also tired from driving.
I am your DD Sage, who did not drive home this time.
We went to a wedding yesterday. Really nice
6-7 hour drive, lots of snow.
Yeah, congrats, Jared and Maggie. It was great to see you guys.
Yeah. So we're a little tired, so we're going to kind of make this...
Yeah, we caught up with a lot of people. A lot of people I did not know listened, and some people I think, like how Kelsey occasionally joins us, we might have some other voices joining in the coming year.
Yeah, so if you're listening and you saw us this past weekend, hello, thank you for listening, and it was so great to see you.
Yep. Quick announcement. First off, I'm going to play a little ad here for one of our friends. So go check them out if you would like. If not, skip ahead like 2 minutes.
Some people start their week with coffee. Ale starts hers with ghosts, mysteries, and things that go bump in the night. Welcome to Macabre Mondays, the podcast where mysteries meet the macabre. Join Alejandra, a lifelong storyteller with a passion for the strange and spooky, as she shares chilling tales with her husband Tom, who's hearing them for the very first time. It's part marriage, part mayhem, and all mystery. Your weekly escape into haunted history, unsolved oddities, and the darker corners of life. New episodes drop every Monday, so ditch the morning blues and press play on something a little more macabre. Listen to Macabre Mondays wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, thank you for listening. Today we'll be heading back to West Virginia again, and I'll be doing another true crime episode. Been a while since I've tackled one of those.
It has.
Been, almost 20-ish episodes.
I don't keep track.
Longer since when you've covered... Longer than your gap between your alien episodes. Yours was about 40.
That's fair.
So, Sage, do you know anything about the Sodder Children?
I do. I have heard this case before.
Okay.
But refresh my memory. It's been a while.
All right. Well, this is also surprising to me because of my 3 true crime episodes, this is my second one on children disappearances. At the bottom of the Wikipedia page, it recommends the Beaumont children as another similar children disappearance case.
Oh.
Yeah.
It sucks that there's even 2 for you to do cases on.
Yeah, it kind of does. Are you ready to get into this one?
Yeah, take it away.
All right, let's start with some background before we go anywhere. So first, let's talk about the family itself. And let's start all the way over in Italia, Italy. Mamma mia, a meatball, a Mario.
Is that offensive?
I don't know, but I think we should keep it in.
Okay.
If it is, let me know, my Italian listeners. I do have some Italian in me.
I do feel like you can get away with it. You do have Italian in you.
I'm like a third Italian.
Yeah.
So
so we're in Italy?
Yep. And we're going to be starting with the patriarch of the Sodder family, Giorgio Sodder. Giorgio Sodder, or better known as George Sodder. Born in 1895 in Tula, Sardinia, Italy, Giorgio Sodder left Italy at the age of 13 with his older brother. in 1908. However, after clearing at Ellis Island, his older brother went back to Italy. It was never revealed why he left Italy and why his brother had returned. Now in the new land of America, Giorgio started to go by George Sodder instead. He Americanized his very Italian-sounding name.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it.
They got another one. Which name would you prefer, Giorgio or George?
Giorgio, it's more authentic.
Yeah, I know. They get them all. Half my family has slightly changed names, but I don't think that's from Americanizing it. Or actually, I think it might have been. I don't know. So he would find work as a teenager in everyone's favorite state, Pennsylvania.
Woo!
Damn right, best state out of the 50. Actually, how about best state out of the 49? Because it'll be a cold day in hell when I recognize Missouri. Or no, it's Mississippi.
Okay.
It's either Missouri or Mississippi that Grandpa Simpson doesn't recognize because he carries a 49 star flag.
Nice.
He would get job on the railroads and would carry supplies and water to laborers. He did this work for a few years and then moved to Smithers, West Virginia. Smithers.
I was just going to say Mr. Smithers.
Mr. Smithers. Two Simpsons references pretty fast.
If I had a nickel for every time you referenced The Simpsons today, I'd have at least 6 nickels. It's not a lot, but it's weird that it happened 6 times because this is twice, and we also talked about it in the car.
Yeah. So eventually, never mind. He found work as a driver, and after some time, he took a more proactive step in his career. He started his own company that would truck dirt at first and eventually coal, which seems pretty typical for West Virginia. Mm-hmm. It's a coal state. Eventually, George met the daughter of a local store owner. Met the daughter of a local store. God, I wrote this wrong so bad. So he met the daughter of a local store owner. The guy owned the store, The Music Box. The name of the woman was Jennie Cipriani.
That also sounds Italian.
All right, let me check one thing. Did I misspell her name in fucking everything then? Okay, correction, real quick. It's Jennie.
Okay. Not
Jeannie. I don't know how I misspelled it the first time.
That's okay.
I spelled it right every time after the very first time. So he meet Jennie Cipriani. Her family also were immigrants from Italy. She had moved to America with her family when she was a toddler. The two would get married in 1922 and begin to grow a family in 1923 when they had their first child. They would settle down in nearby Fayetteville, West Virginia. This area at the time had a substantial Italian immigrant population. Don't know how it's made up now, but they settled in a 2-story wood frame house. Between 1929 and 1943, they would have 10 children.
That is so many.
They were busy in those 20 years. By the time the last one was born, Sylvia, the second oldest son, Joe, was 17 and serving in World War II. In this time, George saw a lot of success in his business. The Sodder family became, quote, one of the most respected middle-class families around, according to a county magistrate. However, George made some controversial statements at the time that did not sit well with everybody. At the time, George was not afraid to voice his opinions. These did cause heated arguments with people in the community, specifically other Italians. George was firmly opposed to former Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. Sage, are you familiar with Mussolini?
Yeah.
Yeah, George was a huge opponent of Mussolini.
Okay,
which is good. That's a good thing. But a lot of Italians in that community were fans of him.
Okay. Can I tell you something funny?
What?
So, on the podcast, The Basement Yard, there's one episode where they're doing answer questions about each other. And Joe asked the question, "What's my favorite dictator?" And Frankie answers Mussolini, and Joe just turns his board around and goes, "None of them, how dare you?"
Oh my god.
It's one of the best clips. And then Frankie's like, "Oh my god, you got me." It's so funny.
God.
So funny.
Chose Mussolini as everyone.
I'm pretty sure that's, yeah.
Benito Mussolini.
Yeah.
Hung by his own people.
I think it was Mussolini.
Yeah. Also, real quick, sorry I forgot to give trigger warnings for this episode, but I won't give them out. Trigger warning for talk about fascism, which we just did. Talking about fascist dictator. Warning about talking about deaths of children and violence to children and kidnapping.
Yeah.
That's about all that I have for that. So yeah, he hated Mussolini, and he would voice that regularly in public, and people were pissed about him on that, like of the Italian population.
Yeah.
Non-Italian population seemingly was okay with his hatred of Mussolini, which valid.
Does this come into play later as like a motive?
Yeah.
Okay.
But hating on Mussolini, George Sodder based boss. I'd say girl boss, but he's a man, so just boss.
Oh.
Man boss. I'm assuming his wife probably agreed with him, so that's girl boss energy there.
Okay. Nice.
So now let's go to the fire. Let's go to December 24th, 1945. Christmas Eve. Santa was trying to make his rounds, but due to World War II, it was pretty dangerous with all those anti-aircraft weapons in place. We're all, he could have been shot down then.
Wow, throwback.
Actually, crazy thing. There was an ad playing in the 1980s that was about the dangers of the Cold War that was played on TV of Santa being shot down by U.S. missiles because we can't risk anything.
That's horrifying.
I need to share that on our Instagram. But yeah, there is an ad of Santa getting shot down.
That's terrible.
Somebody listened to me just in the 80s before I was born.
Wow. Terrible.
You know what? If we're going to track him and he's going to go across restricted airspace, we need to take action. We got to show strength over Santa Claus. They tried to shoot him down in Nightmare Before Christmas.
That is true.
They had the right idea, too. So back to Christmas Eve. 19-year-old Marion Sodder was finishing up her shift at a dime store in downtown Fayetteville. In the spirit of Christmas, she got some gifts to surprise 3 of her younger sisters. A bunch of toys for them. 12-year-old Martha, 8-year-old Jennie, and same name as her mother, so there's 2 Jennies, and 5-year-old Betty.
Aww.
These are all definitely 1940s names.
Of show.
The children loved the toys they got and asked their mom, also Jennie, if they could stay up past their usual bedtimes. At 10 p.m., she permitted it, but had some stipulations. The 2 oldest boys who were still awake had to make sure the cows were put in and to feed the chickens. The boys were 14-year-old Maurice and 9-year-old Louis. Louis is Louis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not Luis?
No, it's Louis.
Louis, okay, good.
Louise would have an E on the end.
That's like that. George and his 2 oldest sons were already asleep. Those 2 sons were 22-year-old John and 16-year-old George Jr. The 17-year-old one, he was still overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So John and George Jr., they had been working all day with their father and had been tired, so they just went to bed.
Without putting the cows away?
Yeah, that was for the others to do.
Oh, okay.
So Jennie reminded them one last time and then went upstairs with Sylvie, now 2 years old. I saw it between 2 and 3.
Okay.
I think it depends on her birthday. I have here 3 years, but I think later I have 2 years old. I think I saw multiple in the sources. So at 12:30 a.m., it's now Christmas here. Jingle jangle, ho ho ho. Jennie woke up to the phone ringing downstairs. She went down to answer it. When she picked up the phone, it was a woman she did not recognize. She heard weird laughing and clinking glasses. Jennie let the woman know she had the wrong number and hung up. She found it all weird.
I would find that very weird, too.
Yeah. She began to tiptoe her way back upstairs when she noticed a few peculiar things. She noticed that Marion had fallen asleep on the living room couch and assumed the other children went to bed in the attic, which is where they slept normally. That's where their beds were. When you have 10 kids and 2 adults in a house, you're sharing a lot of rooms probably.
Yeah.
And one room on the second floor is George's office.
Well, I think, too, that, there's... it's different in that era.
Yeah.
You're not in your bedroom as much as, it's really just for sleeping.
Yep. And also, an attic can back then more easily made to, not like storage, like how it is today.
Yeah.
She was tiptoeing back up, but she noticed a few peculiar things. So Marion was asleep on the couch. Children assumed went to the attic. And she noticed that the lights were on and the door was still unlocked and the curtains were... Sorry. Yeah. Front door was unlocked, the lights were on, and the curtains were not drawn. I skipped that line by accident. So before she went to back up, she turned the lights off, locked the door, and drew the curtains. She then went upstairs and went back to bed. All that should have been done before bed. The kids never missed that.
Okay.
So that's odd. Half an hour later, she woke up again. Now we're talking 1 a.m. Jennie woke up again, but this time it was the sound of an object hitting the roof with a loud bang and rolling off. She didn't hear anything else and decided to go back to bed. Another half hour later, she woke up again. So now we're at 1:30 a.m. And Jennie woke up the third time, this time to the smell of smoke. She left her room and saw smoke in the hallway. There was a fire coming from the room George used for his office. Specifically, the fire was around the telephone line and fuse box. Jennie then leapt into action and woke up George, who then woke up his oldest sons. The parents, George and Jennie, got out of the house along with George Jr., Marion, Sylvie, is it Sylvie or Sylvia?
I think it's Sylvie.
Or no, it's Sylvia, actually.
Oh.
Whoops. Autocorrect got me messed up. I think I misspelled it the first time, so that's the correction it gave me. Sylvia and John, while escaping, they yelled for the children who were upstairs. They weren't able to get up there as the fire had engulfed the stairs, and they didn't hear any type of response.
Wow.
John claimed he did make it up there to alert his siblings who were asleep. However, he later changed his story to say he only called up. I don't know why that happened. He has not explained that.
I'm sure that could have been maybe some guilt
Could be.
like, no, I promise that, like, I mean, you don't want to get in trouble for not going to get them. Like, and then obviously this situation happens.
Yep. Marion tried to call from the phone in the house as they escaped, but it did not work. She went to a neighbor's house and could not reach an operator when calling. Someone who drove by and saw this went to a tavern and called as well, but he too couldn't get an operator. And I'm going to assume from some stuff I heard elsewhere that they just did not have an operator working Christmas Eve to Christmas morning. Why should you have essential workers be responsible on holidays?
Yeah, I mean, I get both sides of that. These people should be home with their families, but also that's a necessary job.
That's the only person who can connect you to the cops or the fire department, anything. And eventually, the fire chief could be reached when the neighbor that Marion had gone to drove into town to let him know the emergency.
Wow. What a neighbor.
Yeah.
This is neighbors doing neighborly things.
Yep. George attempted to get back into the house, and he couldn't get down and get through in the front. So he went to the side of the house to get his ladder to enter in from the second floor. However, the ladder was missing. He went to start his truck to get it there, and it wouldn't start. He went to his second truck, and same result. He eventually climbed the wall in his bare feet to a second floor window. George broke a window to get back in and to try and get his 5 remaining children who were in the house, and got a serious cut on his arm doing so. He couldn't see anything through the fire and smoke and had to retreat from the house. He then tried to get water from a rain barrel to try and do something, but the water was frozen and he wasn't able to use it because we're December in West Virginia.
Oh.
George could only stand and yell as his voice began to hurt and his arm was starting to be covered in blood. The ladder was later found, though, in an embankment 75 feet away from the house.
Okay.
Odd,
for sure.
Within 45 minutes of the fire starting, the house had burned to the ground. We're now closer to 2:15 a.m.
Because this is the 40s, so they're not built like they are today.
Yeah. So the fire chief had gone to notice and was calling everyone up to get there. They didn't arrive till 8 a.m.
Holy shit, that took forever.
Due to the fact that the fire chief, S.J. Morris, had to call each firefighter individually and wait for one to help him because he could not drive the fire truck. And if you think about, because we're at the end of World War II, a lot of men are deployed.
Mm-hmm, that's fair. That's true.
One of the firefighters who arrived actually that morning was Jennie's brother.
Oh.
The firefighter surveyed the scene and found no remains of any of the 5 children who were unaccounted for. The fire chief believed that it burned hot enough to completely burn the bodies and cremate them. The search has claimed to be cursory at best.
Okay.
So not good. There is a claim
Is it cursory for the 40s or cursory for now?
I think for both.
Okay.
But not good. And this was at 10 a.m. that they did this. They didn't search till 10 a.m.
Well, they couldn't.
There is a claim that bones and organs were found, but it was hidden from the family, and there was not much to support this claim, but we'll come back to it later.
Okay.
However, the fire chief told someone that he found a heart there and buried it.
Okay. Weird.
Shortly after all this happened, the local coroner determined that the children had certainly died in the fire. Only a day later, an inquest was convened and the jurors agreed. Death certificates were then issued, and the inquest determined that it was the most likely faulty wiring that caused the fire. The funeral was held on January 2nd, 1946. The parents did not attend. The surviving children did.
I can only imagine why the parents wouldn't.
Yeah.
5 of your children are probably dead.
After all of this, George covered the basement in 5 feet of dirt and then converted the site of the former house into a memorial garden that Jennie would tend to. She would continue the rest of her life, even after they started asking questions. Despite all that had transpired, the Sodders didn't think it was all settled about what happened. They began to believe their children were still alive, and a bunch of strange things started to be remembered before the fire. Now, it's time to go through some of the most odd occurrences leading up to the fire. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
First thing to happen was in the fall of 1945, a stranger showed up to the house without any notice asking about hauling work. He walked around the house and pointed to 2 fuse boxes and said, "This is going to cause a fire someday." George found this odd later on, and also at the time, as he had just had the local electric company to check it out and determined that it is in fine condition.
Okay, so police chief and stuff saying it's due to faulty wiring. George is saying I hired a company and they said it's fine.
The local electric company said it was fine back in the fall of that same year. In October of 1945, an insurance salesman tried to sell George a family policy, which he declined. He did not like being declined and became frustrated at George, but this problem with George went beyond life insurance. He is quoted telling George the following: "Your goddamn house is going up in smoke," he warned, "and your children are going to be destroyed. You are going to pay for the dirty remarks you have been making about Mussolini."
And no one thought to do anything.
No.
That's pretty damn clear.
It gets even better. This same man was a juror on the coroner's inquest that determined the cause of death and issued the death certificates after the fire.
Oh my god, conflict of interest, my god.
Yep. Within a day of the fire happening, the guy who said your children are going to be destroyed, your place is going to go up in smoke because you made dirty remarks about Mussolini. Yeah, I'm going to be one of the people that's like, yeah, it was faulty wiring. Your children are definitely dead.
Holy shit.
Yep. Another thing leading up to Christmas was there was a car that kept coming around the house. Whoever it was seemed to be keeping an eye on the children. They never figured out who it was. Yeah, leading up to the fire, none of these incidents seemed to alarm the Sodder children. The Sodder family as a whole, or connect the dots at all. And then when you think about that phone call that happened the night of, well, they actually tracked down the woman who made the call, and it was just a wrong number by accident.
Okay, but she had the operator at that time.
Yeah.
To make that call.
I mean, that was also an hour before. Or no, half an hour. Yeah, no, an hour before. That was at 12:30. Fire was at 1:30.
Even then, I
don't know. Maybe she had a different operator because she might have been farther away. I don't know how phones worked back then.
I don't either, truthfully.
All I know is you spin the thingy.
Yeah. Like a rotary phone.
Yeah.
I think that this was probably earlier than that, though. Earlier than rotary phone.
No, the rotary phones are way behind. like further back. But Jennie started doing some questioning and experimenting on bones burning. From the employee at the local crematorium that she questioned, they told her that some bone remains are still there even after 2 hours at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit during cremation.
Yeah, this is definitely something that...
The house only burned for 45 minutes before collapsing. Granted, it's still there for a while because it's probably smoldering remains, but it's not as hot, I would think, because you're also in the cold of winter. Some of the appliances were still there, like had parts and were recognizable, which you wouldn't expect if it was that hot. And she also found a newspaper article of a similar house burning down, and skeletal remains were found in that fire. And she also did some, she took some bones of like animals and stuff like chicken and whatnot, and did some burning of her own to see how they would react to being burned for a while. And she could not destroy them in similar situations.
Well, I don't know that she could get a fire that's that hot.
Well, like cooking bones for a while and like in a fire. Like similar to a house. Like, I don't know, I guess she like would make a pile and like burn with the bones in it, but the bones would not be destroyed.
Okay.
The fire seemingly had issues with it. When they had a telephone repairman there who looked into the phone line, he determined the line had not burned through, but actually had been cut. The person who did this would have had to climb up 14 feet and reach 2 feet to cut the line.
Hey, guess what?
What?
The ladder was in a ditch 75 feet away.
Yeah. Neighbors did notice a man stealing a block and tackle from there that night. So that's like a pulley. And the man was identified and arrested. He admitted to stealing the block and tackle and cutting the phone line. He said he thought so. Well, he did it thinking he was cutting the power line.
So when Jennie made the call...
Yep.
Was the phone line cut?
The phone line was cut, and she couldn't realize it.
So that's why she couldn't reach an operator.
Yeah, but the neighbor just couldn't reach an operator, and neither could the guy at the tavern. But I guess you had a similar response.
Okay.
But the person arrested, so he said he did cut the phone line, thinking it was the power line. The person...
Why the fuck are you cutting a power line?
That's what you're going to bring up. But first, the person arrested was never recorded anywhere. And it all begs the question, why would you cut the power line for something like that? Nobody can understand why. It just doesn't add up. You're stealing something outside. You don't need to cut the power line. You don't need to climb up 14 feet and reach 2 feet across then to cut a line just to steal a block and tackle.
Is it like if I cut the power, then no one can see me in the dark?
I guess.
Like they can't get light on to come see me? Like...
I don't know. The reasoning doesn't make sense.
Do I work for an electric company and I need you to pay me to come out and fix it?
No idea. But George also believed that the person had tampered with the trucks. Now,
trucks?
Yep. Like, because the trucks wouldn't start.
The cars?
Yeah.
Oh, you never said that.
You know, I mentioned they tried to do one truck and then the other and both wouldn't start.
Oh, I totally missed that.
However, I think it's George Jr. I actually forgot to write this down. He thinks it might have been they accidentally flooded the engines whenever they were trying to get ready so fast.
Possible.
Now, back on the electrical fire.
I don't know anything about cars.
Neither do I. Back on the electrical fire being the blame for that night, when the house was burning down, the Christmas lights on the first floor were still on. This should not have happened if it was an electrical fire from a fuse box.
I thought it was from the telephone anyway.
But they said faulty wiring from the electrical box.
Oh.
Burned the telephone line and burned the house down. But yet the Christmas lights were on. And it was the telephone
I did
line.
not know they had Christmas lights in the 40s.
They did. I believe it was Christmas lights. That's what I read.
I wasn't there.
More evidence started to come out, most by eyewitness accounts. A bus driver who passed through Fayetteville the night of Christmas Eve had seen someone throw balls of fire at the house.
I was like whatever Jennie heard on the roof.
Yep. In addition, Sylvia Sodder, the 2-year-old daughter, this is where I put her as 2, had been playing in the area after the snow had melted. A few months later, she found a small, hard, dark green rubber ball-like object in nearby brush. George said it looked like a pineapple bomb, hand grenade, or some other incendiary device. The Sodder family believed that this object was thrown on the roof and set the house ablaze, contradicting the assessment by the fire chief. With the house as burned down as it was, Having been for almost 9 hours before that 10 a.m. look at the damage, I find it hard, and many others seemingly do, to determine the cause of the fire. It's like the house is smoldering at that point, and everything's just a pile there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that time, like that day and age, yeah. Nowadays, they would still be able to figure it out. Like, that's an entire profession.
Yeah. But also at the same time, they're saying, oh, your phone line burned through, and then when the repairman comes, he's like, no, it's clearly cut.
Yeah.
So,
something fishy sounds like what's going on. Was the police chief Italian?
Fire chief? I don't know.
Fire chief, was he Italian?
Morris doesn't sound like an Italian name. I don't think so.
He could have had some Italian. He could have still been a Mussolini sympathizer.
Who knows? But to further complicate things, some people claim to have witnessed the children themselves. One woman claimed to have seen them peering out of a car as it drove by the burning house. Another woman, who worked at a rest stop between Fayetteville and Charleston, had claimed to have witnessed them the following day. She says she served them breakfast. She noted there was a car with a Florida license plate there as well. And a third woman, and this claim actually I learned came out later. Oh my god, I changed the color of my entire text changes after this quote. I hate this. A third woman also claimed to see them. She worked at a hotel in Charleston, West Virginia. She had only realized she saw them months later after an ad was out, and she'd seen their pictures in the newspaper as well. Here's what she told authorities. The children were accompanied by 2 women and 2 men, all of Italian extraction. I do not remember the exact date. However, the entire party did register at the hotel and stayed in a large room with several beds. They registered about midnight. I tried to talk to the children in a friendly manner, but the men appeared hostile and refused to allow me to talk to these children.
The midnight of Christmas Eve? Or later?
It's later, not Christmas.
Okay.
I don't think it was Christmas. One of the men looked at me in a hostile manner. He turned around and began talking rapidly in Italian. Immediately, the whole party stopped talking to me. I sensed that I was being frozen out, and so I said nothing more. They left early the next morning. The Sodder family wrote to the FBI requesting their assistance, and the director of the FBI himself, J. Edgar Hoover, wrote back to George saying he would like to help, but as it was still local jurisdiction, the FBI would have to be invited. They were not invited by the local authorities.
I hate, dick measuring contests like that.
Yep. Well, in 1947, to get some traction, the family hired private investigator C.C. Tinsley. He would help the family out and try and track down leads. He is the one who found out the man who threatened George was on the coroner's jury. He also learned rumors that Morris, the fire chief, had found a heart at the site of the fire. Morris confessed it to a local minister, who then told George about it, which ministers are not supposed to do that.
That is definitely a breach of confidentiality.
They tracked down and eventually found the heart. And I say heart with quotation marks. It was a beef liver.
Ew.
It had no evidence of being in the fire. Morris admitted that he had placed it in the box in the hopes the Sodders would find it eventually, and they'd be satisfied that the children died in the fire when they found this. He knew it was a beef liver the whole time.
I guess I'm confused. How long after was this?
1947.
Why would the beef liver still even be
I don't know.
Viable?
I don't know. In 1949, George was able to convince a DC pathologist, Oscar Hunter, to supervise a search of the house. The search was conducted and a few items were found: a dictionary that belonged to the kids, some coins, and several human bone fragments. They were parts of the vertebrae and were sent to the Smithsonian Institute to be examined. Marshall T. Newman determined they were lumbar vertebrae, all from the same person from age of 16 to 22. This is clearly outside the age range of the possible children, as the oldest was 14. Tinsley confirmed later that bones had actually come from a local cemetery. You may be asking yourself, that is odd that these were cemetery bones. How did they get there? And it actually is 2 reasons. There's 2 possible explanations. One is someone planted them there. The other is that some of the dirt used for the garden was actually from the cemetery. Because they took
Okay.
dirt from elsewhere to cover the
Were
basement.
they able to connect those bones to a body in the cemetery?
Not to a body, but I guess they were able to
Because-
determine it came from the cemetery, and some of the dirt might have accidentally come from the
But
cemetery.
like, wouldn't that body have had to not been buried in a casket then?
Maybe. Smithsonian scholars also agreed that the skeletons should have been present after the fire if they truly perished in that fire. This attracted more attention, which led to 2 hearings at the state legislature in 1950. The result was Governor Oki L. Patson and State Police Superintendent W.E. Burchett told the Sodders that their search was hopeless and closed the case.
Fuck them.
The FBI would then get involved over the fact that it may have been an interstate crime with the potential kidnappings. They pursued it for 2 years before dropping it because they couldn't make any meaningful progress in it. But I mean, hey, they tried for 2 years. That's more than what the state tried.
Yeah, and that's honestly like kind of rare for the FBI.
But you're also starting like 5 to 6 years late.
Yeah.
You're way behind.
I'm thinking like for me, like, is this a tall family? Is it a short family? Like, is it possible that those vertebrae are from a 14-year-old? Like, or did he escape?
What do you mean?
Like, who were
Like these bones would not fit any of the kids at the time.
even if like they were taller? Or...
Yeah. Based on what they know of the kids, it didn't fit any of them.
Okay.
And you can also tell, like, age-wise, like, bones, even if, like, they're larger or not, I believe.
I know, but it's not always accurate too with it, especially at that age because when kids are so young.
But just sound like, from what they knew, the experts knew, it didn't fit any of them.
Yeah.
The Sodders themselves were undeterred and had a billboard placed asking for information and offering a $5,000 reward that was eventually up to $10,000 not long after. This billboard was along Route 16 and they handed out flyers as well. A few people did report sightings afterwards, and here's some of them. A letter was sent from a woman in St. Louis, where she... That's where I get annoyed. That's Louis, but it's Louis in other for names.
Yeah.
But in St. Louis, where she claimed that the oldest girl, Martha, was in a convent there. Another tip came from Texas, where someone claimed to overhear people discussing incriminating details about a house fire in West Virginia on Christmas Eve.
Oddly specific.
A person from Florida claimed the children were down there with a distant relative of Jennie's, and there was a tip that 2 of the sons were in Houston, Texas. Apparently, someone admitted to being Lewis after too many drinks, and he told it to a woman who then wrote a letter to the Sodders. George followed up on every single one of these by going in person with no hope on any of them, even to Jennie's distant relative demanding to see proof that those kids he had were his. And he was given that proof. The only one that had some progress was George going to Houston. He went there with his son-in-law, Grover Paxton. Once there, the woman refused to talk to them, the one who said she met Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And they they went to the police, and the police tracked down the 2 men suspected of being the Sodder children. They denied being the Sodder children, and George and Paxton were sent back empty-handed. Paxton admitted, though, that George had doubts about the denial after they had met the people and were left there, and it stuck with him for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
So George had a hunch that they might have actually been his
I wonder why
sons.
they would deny.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. So then, 23 years after the fire, in 1968, another lead came. The family received an envelope that came from Central City, Kentucky, with no return address. Inside was a picture of a young man, and there was writing on the back, Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie. I little boys, A90132, or was A90135, either 2 or 5 at the end. The authorities believed it was a hoax, but the person was very similar to what Lewis would have looked like, most likely, if he was older. But the Sodders did follow up on it. They hired a private investigator and paid the fee. He went down to Kentucky and was never heard from again. They couldn't track him down after that.
Wow.
They don't know whatever happened to him. They couldn't get a hold of him. He never gave them any results. They added the picture they got, though, to the billboard. George then gave the following quote to the Charleston Gazette Mail. It's like hitting a rock wall. We can't go any further. Time is running out for us, but we only want to know if they did die in the fire. We want to be convinced. Otherwise, we want to know what happened to them. A year later, George Sodder passed away at the age of 73 on August 16th, 1969. The whole family kept investigating, except for John, who urged the family to move on and accept they died in the fire. Jennie would pass away 20 years later in 1989, and with that, the billboard finally went down.
That's devastating.
Yeah. The surviving children continued to investigate and came up with some theories on this.
Okay.
One was that the Sicilian mafia kidnapped them because they tried to recruit George and he declined, and they tried to extort him and he said no. Or the kids had been kidnapped by someone they knew who went through the unlocked door and either got them before or during the fire. If it was dangerous people, the children may have never reached out to the family to keep their parents safe and their siblings safe. They also think the children could have been taken back to Italy.
By
Mafia or other Italian people.
Just because this guy was so outspoken about Mussolini?
Yep.
It's not outside the realm of possibilities of things that
isn't.
people would have done for Mussolini at that time.
True. The last of the Sodder children, Sylvia, passed away in 2021 at the age of 79. Sylvia's daughter, Jennie Thorne, has talked about how there will probably be no closure, as anyone who knew would have been her grandparents' age and they wouldn't be around anymore. She talked about how it was tough, Sylvie basically growing up an only child because all of her the children in between her and the oldest were gone.
Yeah.
And how her first memory was the burning house.
Ugh.
And how it went with her entire life.
That's horrible.
Yeah, Sylvia tried to keep it going through her entire life. She didn't want to let her mom down, and she kept it going. If any of the children were alive, they would most likely have passed away by now.
Yeah.
So either if they had children or somebody else knows, there's not going to be answers.
Yeah. Wow.
So which of the theories do you think it is?
I mean, I definitely lean more towards it has something to do with Mussolini sympathizers. I think that makes the most sense. Like, to me, if he was so outspoken about his dislike for Mussolini, what Mussolini was doing over in that area, like in Italy and stuff, like, it makes sense that, people wouldn't. I mean, look at today. Same things are happening today. And, like, it doesn't surprise me that someone would, like, go after a person for that if they have the ability to change someone else's mind.
Especially if the mafia is also sympathizers, and also the mafia did plenty of things and still does.
You don't want to fuck with the Russian or the Italian mafias.
Yeah, but I mean,
allegedly.
Allegedly, but
yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at. I'm thinking someone threw something up at the roof. That's what she heard hit the roof.
I think there was foul play for what started the fire. Now there's a lot of debate. A lot of more contemporary things some people think that the kids did perish in the fire, but my issue is there's no good proof.
There's no good proof, but I also think in that day and age, you're looking at people not being as well educated on the human body and what can happen to the human. I think that the crematorium thing is very important. Like, that piece is important, but also have to remember that if it's a lower fire and these kids burn for 9 hours, like, not that I think their bones are going to go completely disintegrated.
But there should be some evidence. And they did excavate in 1949.
Yeah, but when you have all that rubble and stuff too, like, it's possible they could be in tiny little fragments. Like,
there was also mentioned, and I found this at the very end, that there was belief that there was like at least a drum of gasoline in a garage there. That might have helped accelerate some.
Yeah,
but
or someone threw something on the house, or
I think the ladder being moved is very suspect, especially because the guy who said he cut the line said he climbed up there, not by the ladder.
Yeah.
The lights and curtains and door being unlocked are very suspect as well.
Yeah. Because, like, if a kid walks out, they're not going to lock the door behind them unless they have a key to get back in.
Or, somebody has them come out.
Yeah.
He's not going to ask them to do that.
I guess I'm just confused about
maybe the kids tried to leave a
which
clue.
Kid, like the kid that was on the couch. Marion?
Marion was asleep.
Yeah, like, was she already sleeping?
Most likely. I mean, she had just come back from a day of work.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking, and this is just my speculation, that they went for the youngest kids, whoever kidnapped them. I do believe they were kidnapped, but I think they went for the youngest because it would be easiest to get out without a fight.
Do you think that any of this could have had to do with, like maybe there was carbon monoxide poisoning that kind of kept the other people in the house?
No, I just think they're very quiet and they might coordinate this ahead because they said they believe there's a car watching the kids leading up to it. I think it was all planned.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it was planned. Something happened, whether or not the kids perished in there or not. Like, something happened to this family, and there was literally a man who was like, yeah, no, like, you're gonna suffer for this, and your kids are gonna die.
He said two people told him leading up that your house was going to burn down. One he said the fuse box was going to do it, which is where they said it happened at first. Which
is suspect. If someone threatened that the fuse box would happen.
Well, he did. The first guy didn't threaten, he warned, and then the second guy threatened that your house would be destroyed and your children would be gone.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much there.
And then for this guy to be on the coroner's inquest, I doubt the coroner knew there was a conflict of interest.
I doubt this guy said anything.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't. He probably won't say anything, but kudos for Mr. C.C. Tinsley for figuring that out.
Yeah, certainly.
So you're on the kidnapping.
I don't know that I'm on the kidnapping.
No, sure, if you're on the kidnapping?
I'm not. I'm team something happened to them because they were angry that he was not a Mussolini sympathizer. I'm
definitely on that, at least.
I can't say that I'm on the kidnapping side because I do think that there's some kind of plausibility that they could have died in that fire.
Yeah, but I'm going to go the kidnapping route. You're going to go I think there is a possibility, but I think I lean more to the kidnapping.
Yeah, I mean, especially the sightings and stuff make it interesting. I just is it the fame? Like, is it how widespread this case became that, like, they wouldn't want to announce themselves as a Sodder child?
Yeah, well, imagine.
Because they don't want to.
I'm thinking it was dangerous people who took them. And if they went back to their family, the family would get killed. Yeah, because if it was a group that could abduct them and keep them away and that well hidden, it's probably a group that could have easily killed them.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking happened. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's about it for my thoughts on it.
That's a good point.
I think that there was a kidnapping involved.
A lot of it comes down to, like, allegedly don't fuck with the Italian mob.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone, is it the Sopranos?
Sopranos are the Italian mob.
Yeah, like,
it's Tony here.
You know.
I'm just doing stereotypical Italian at that point.
Yeah, and
I get Soprano stuff recommended occasionally on YouTube. I'm also getting a lot of stuff from the Nuremberg movie, and God, I fucking hate them getting stuff recommended from the Nuremberg movie. You know why?
Why?
The comments are full of people who think the Holocaust was fake.
Well, those people can go fuck themselves.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It's really aggravating. Don't
listen to of all the conspiracy theories. Frank and I will sit here. We'll have so many conversations about conspiracy theories. If at any point you ever think we're ever going to tell you the Holocaust didn't happen, this is not the podcast for you.
Yep. And if you think we're going to go some anti-Semitic conspiracy, hate to break it to you, Chief, find a different podcast to listen to. Educate your fucking self. Holy fuck. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's such fucking bullshit.
It's something that I've been struggling on finding conspiracy episodes. Because we did the Georgia Guidestones recently, and I tried really hard not to bring into anti-Semitism in it. But a lot of conspiracies are rooted in anti-Semitism.
Which is just fucking insane. Like, that's an entire group of people that
shape-shifting reptilians.
Thousands of years have been persecuted for their fucking faith.
Their
faith.
Sorry.
I shouldn't say fucking faith. That's insensitive. Their faith.
Shape-shifting reptilian conspiracies? Oh, yeah. It's when you dig into it, it's the Jews. New World Order, you dig into it. Oh, it's the Jews, but we use the word them, so we aren't anti-Semitic. No, you're still anti-Semitic. You're just trying to cover it.
Well, this is so annoying. And this is what pisses me off. Like,
well, if you ever ask somebody who them is and keep questioning them, you'll get to the bottom, and it's typically the Jews, and it's so fucking stupid.
But this is also what's so interesting about America's, like, diehard love for Israel. In the sense, like, there's such, like, conflicting things because it's...
Some people just hate Muslims more.
Yeah, honestly.
And it's
about
insane.
it is literally about who do you hate more. And that's so fucked up. And so if you think you can come onto our podcast, listen to our podcast, whatever, and believe those kinds of things, buddy, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out.
That's one of the things you just get pissed so much lately is like, I'm just going to let it spill a little bit, guys. I'm working on a little project with some other podcasts. It might be a little game show. And I'm having trouble with conspiracy questions because, holy shit, I don't want to say the Jews are evil because they aren't.
It's so
every conspiracy. Oh, the flat earth. Who's hiding the flat earth? Them. Who's them? And let me ask you, in 5 questions, we're going to get to the bottom of it. Probably the more I question you. It's just, it aggravates me so much. It's why I don't talk about the reptilian conspiracy at all. They're funny at first until you realize David Icke's a fucking raging anti-Semite.
Yeah, and
he's also an idiot too.
Well, I think too, it's really unfortunate because that kind of conspiracy theory is so rampant right now.
Yeah.
In like today's political climate, and unfortunately.
They always say, "Oh, I swear I don't hate Jews. I'm not anti-Semitic. I just don't like them." Then who's them? Who's them? Tell me, buddy. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, that's a rant.
Anyway, that's our soapbox. We're going to get off of it, but I really wanted to
Let me conclude this episode.
I really wanted to make it fucking clear what side of the aisle we're on.
Yeah. But in conclusion today, the Sodder family was a lovely family, and unfortunately, on December 24th and 25th of 1945, a fire was lit on their house. All but 5 of the children made it out of the house. Did they make it out, or were they kidnapped? Was it the mafia? Was it for George Sodder's outspoken criticism of Benito Mussolini? Through various experiments and multiple witnesses, is seen that the children might have been elsewhere. From some credible witnesses, some of the fire details did not add up, and now we're left with this very incomplete picture. Did they truly die in the fire, or were they kidnapped? That's for you to decide after what you've heard today.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I have for today. Sorry, guys, this is a bit of a shorter episode. We're trying to rush because we got to pick up Atlas from puppy boarding.
Yeah, it's been a long day, long weekend.
Yeah, so
fun weekend, but very long.
Time to wrap it up. If you like what you're listening to, go check us out on our socials. Follow, share, let other people know, rate, comment, review. Every little bit helps us. We really appreciate all of it. And, go check out our other friends' podcast and, keep supporting. We really like it. So I think I'm going to wrap us up here.
Yeah.
And remember
to look for
the unknown,
the unsung,
and the unseen.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys. Jingle, jingle, ho, ho, ho.
Don't hate the Jews.
That too, yeah. Be nice to people. Holy shit, that's not hard to do.